exactly what my intentions are. Don't want to boss anybody around. I have hard enough trouble bossing me around. And in fact, in the end, you don't even want to boss yourself around anymore, is it? So, all right, what's the time? Okay. Let's get on to the subject we're here for. As per usual, I've got no idea what I'm going to say, but we'll see how we go. All right. One of God's primary laws to understand if you want to enjoy your life is the law of desire. You could call it also perhaps the law of passion, and I don't use passion in the negative sense of crisis, but rather passion in the sense of like having huge passionate desire. But this law is a major part of our soul being activated. And if we don't understand how it influences us emotionally and spiritually and influences our relationship with God, often we will flounder with many, many times of feeling quite despondent on the divine love path. You receiving God's love, in fact, is totally about this law. So let's look at how that works. Here's your soul. Here's God's soul. What causes God's love to enter your soul? Having a desire for it. The desire for divine love causes the Holy Spirit, God's active force, if you like, that is of the highest order. It is, in fact, the way God transmits her love to her children. And so, therefore, it's the highest possible, and that's why we call it in the spirit world the Holy Spirit, because it's the highest possible active force of God. And that Holy Spirit connects through this aspect of desire. That's what it means to have a longing for divine love. It means to have a desire, a passionate desire to be loved by God, and also, of course, to love God. Now, remember there were three things we need on the divine love path to progress. Do you remember what those three things primarily are? A longing for... Right, so a longing, remember we've got to use it, a longing for divine love, a longing for divine truth, and what's the third? What's humility? Yeah. It's actually a longing to experience your own emotions, isn't it? A passionate desire to experience your own emotions. Can you see in each case how much desire is in place? Can you see that? And can you see too, if I don't have a desire, for instance, to feel my own emotions, then straight away I'm blocking emotion. If I don't have a desire to experience divine truth, then I'm blocking truth. If I don't have a desire to receive divine love, then I'm never going to be able to receive divine love, because it's desire that activates God's soul. Your desire activates God's soul. When your desire is harmonious with love, truth, and motion, your desire accesses God's soul. Now that's pretty powerful, really, isn't it? To understand and think about and ponder about. Because all of these people say, you know, how complicated it is, how much meditation you've got to do to connect with God and become blissful, and, you know, you've got to meditate 3-4 hours, meditate, probably interchangeable words, but anyway. meditate 3 or 4 hours a day to receive divine love and so forth. And in reality, it's not about the meditation and the blanking of yourself out or anything. It's about your passionate desire. And when you think about it, every time anyone around you has a passionate desire, don't you find it quite wonderful? Do you find that sort of resonates with you in your soul, like when somebody else has a passion? It doesn't, like someone's got a passionate desire for their motor car, you know? You just sit back sometimes and just smile at yourself when you hear them express their desire, don't you? Because it just amazes. It's amazing the transformation of the person that occurs when they connect with that passionate desire. Can you see that? And that happens in all sorts of aspects of their life. A passionate desire to have a family. Now there will be a high likelihood this family will be brought up in a manner that's harmonious with love. If you don't really care about having children and you have one, how do you feel then? Not very, very passionately desirous of having the child, so therefore there's this blockages to actually then having the child grow up with an environment of love. Desire enters every aspect of your being, if you think about it. You know, why do you eat something? Because there's this feeling inside that generates a feeling that I need, that I want to have something inside of me, food, to fill it. Now, sometimes that feeling will be an emotional injury, but it's still based around a desire that drives you, right? So in the end, it is a desire that is driving even the desire to eat food. Because if you didn't have that desire, would you bother eating? Probably not, would you? If imagine God made you that you felt full all the time. So you'd look at this great big beautiful platter of, you know, fruit, vegetables and other dishes, right? And you look at it and you go, okay, and then walk off, right? Now, if your body needed food but you didn't have a desire for it at all, what's going to happen to your body eventually? You just wither away, and who knows? Sometimes it depends how connected with God. It might take a few years, but other times just a few months, and you're pretty much a skeleton, right? That's what anorexia is all about, the resistance of food due to emotional reasons, isn't it? So of course, it's desire that generates even desire for food. And of course, we can have desires that are disharmonious with love and truth. Or we can have desires that are harmonious with love and truth, can't we? We can have either. Now, the ones that are disharmonious with love and truth, when we act upon them, they have a certain flavour in terms of their result, compared with desires that are harmonious with love and truth. And we'll talk about the different flavour that results from those two desires. But you can see how if we want to connect to even to God and receive divine love, which is the transforming thing that transforms our soul, we are going to need to understand desire. Right? We're going to need to understand what affects desire, what controls desire within us, and how we can grow desire. Can you see that? We're going to need to understand those things. If we don't understand those things, how are we going to grow this connection with God if it's all based on desire? So the law of desire is a really important thing to understand. And desire and passion is something very important to develop within yourself. Now, a few weeks ago I asked to actually have an attempt to feel some of your desires, and I know some of you did that, to feel some of your desires and start acting upon them. And one of the things you would have noticed is that when you started acting upon desires that were harmonious with love, you automatically felt some more joy in your life as a result. Right? And this is something we need to come to understand too, that when we act upon our desires that are harmonious with love and truth, then joy results. It's an automatic result when we act upon desires harmonious with love and truth. So, let's just draw that little equation up on our... If we want to have joy or happiness in our life, we must discover our desire. This is proviso that We want to make sure it's harmonious with love and truth. Then we want to act upon it. And if we do all of that, we will have joy. So you could say joy equals discovering your desire plus acting, making sure it's harmonious with love and truth, and then acting upon it. If we add those three together, joy will result in our lives. Let's write another equation. Equals discovering desire plus being disharmonious with love and truth and acting upon it. Can you see it's almost the same equation with one primary difference? The primary difference is the harmony with divine love and truth. So, if we look at this aspect of joy and we look at this aspect of pain, we see that God automatically created a feedback system. Do you understand what I mean by a feedback system? Well, in electronics, the feedback system is used to stop things from going into squealing at you. So, for example, you know the sound system here. This sound system has a thing called a phase lock loop amplifier, which is getting my voice and putting it into an electronic signal. And what it does with my signal is it amplifies my signal, but to stop the signal from being amplified so much that it blows up the amplifier, there's a feedback system there that makes sure that it's kept within a certain range. Does that make sense? And this is what God has done with our desire. God has given us a feedback system so that we can actually see where the ranges of our desire that is safe to us and the ranges of our desire that are unsafe to us. And the feedback system is joy and pain. Does that make sense to everyone? Yeah? So, when I'm feeling pain, my feedback system is telling me that there is something about my desire here that's out of harmony with love and truth. So, for example, quite often people come up and say to me, "Oh, we've just broken up for a relationship and I'm devastated. Right? I'm devastated that we've just broken up. And, you know, I want them to be with me, but they don't want me. And I feel really devastated." So devastation, would you classify it as a joy or a pain? Okay, so we've got pain. So we know we're in the pain. So straight away we know, because of the pain, that there must be something about a desire that's disharmonious with love and truth that I have that would cause me to feel this pain. Otherwise I wouldn't feel the pain of this breakup. And people then say to me, "That makes no sense to me at all." They say, "If I loved them, of course I'm going to feel pain." And I say, well, no, that's not true at all, because every time we have pain, we're doing something in disharmony with love and truth. That can't be true. If you love someone, it doesn't automatically result in pain. In fact, if you love somebody, whether they love you back or not, it should result in your pleasure. I don't know if we can have a mic down here.
Well, how does that work when you have a desire to speak truth? Mm-hmm. So just say, well, actually last night I decided to speak truth to a guy that I've known for a couple of years. And I decided to tell him that I feel that he needs attention from me. So that was my desire, to be more honest with him. But then it resulted in me feeling, sort of like pain in a way, because I felt like, because he couldn't understand why I felt he was needy. And
So what we were saying is you tried this equation, and what ended up was the pain equation for you.
yeah,
So the pain equation, you started with what you believed was a pure desire to seek truth. Is that desire harmonious with love and truth? Yes, of course it is. And you acted upon it, did you not? Yes. And yet you still got pain.
is that just because I have an injury within me that I need to release?
I'll tell you why it's happening.
Okay.
That desire was a pure desire, and it wasn't that desire that caused you the pain. Because this is the equation that always causes joy, and you were in that equation. So the pain must be the result of another desire.
Now I wish I didn't ask this question. Oh no.
So what's the real desire that you felt the pain about? You gave the clue in your statement.
Oh, maybe that he misunderstood.
He misunderstood me.
Yeah.
He misunderstood me. So what was my desire? I wanted him to understand.
Okay.
Him to understand. To understand. Now, is that desire harmonious with truth and love?
No,
Why?
because that's me having an expectation.
Yes. And that was the cause of your pain. Can you see the difference?
Yep.
You see, a lot of times what we do with our emotions is we think we're in this equation, but the pain is telling us we're in a totally different equation. Does that make sense to everyone? All right? Lots of realizations happening here, so that's very good. All right? You see, a lot of times we want to tell ourselves that we're doing something with a pure desire. And a lot of times we do actually act upon a pure desire, but at the same time, we have another desire playing that ain't so pure. Right? And it's that desire that caused us the pain, not the truth desire. You see, and this is why the feedback system is very good, because we can see, I'm in pain. I must have had a desire that was out of harmony with truth and love. I need to discover it. I need to know what that desire was. Because if my desire was harmonious with truth and love, I wouldn't feel the pain of it by its expression. Does everyone get that? Yeah?